Welcome to the NBA Carousel, brought to you by Sideline Sports in conjunction with Fantasy and Flavors. I'm your host, Megan Price, and it's been an incredibly busy week in the basketball world with March Madness in full swing. But the NBA lost a legend today, Hall of Famer Elgin Baylor, who played for the Lakers from 1958 to 1971. He also coached the Jazz from 74 to 79. The Spurs had an exciting game on Saturday against the Bucks, but fell short, 120 to 113. DeMar DeRozan had his return. He had 22 points, 13 assists, and 3 rebounds. Keldon Johnson showed out with 17 points, 4 assists, and 8 boards. Lonnie Walker had a career night with 31 points, 1 assist, and 6 boards. And Rudy Gay, who returned after having COVID for several weeks, with 15 points and 6 rebounds. But let's go ahead and move on to Stephen Gillespie, the Mavericks representative. Let's see. Stephen Gillespie has been covering the Mavericks for us most of the season. We have, there you go.
Hey, can you see me?
I can. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Megan?
Doing really well. How was your weekend?
It was really good. I can't complain at all. I actually covered that Spurs game on a Colorcast. It was really fun. It was a really good game.
It was a really good game. My kid's birthday was her party was that day, so I didn't actually watch the game as it was happening, but I did watch the highlights, and it seemed like a good game. We fell short in that second quarter. Like, generally, we had enough points to keep up with the Bucks like the entire game, except for that second quarter. We were like off about 10 points, and so it seems like we're
Lonnie Walker the ball enough. Y'all didn't give him the ball enough. Y'all came to him too late towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I agree. He had a little bit of a slump early on in the season, but he's kind of come out of that and looks a lot better.
Yeah,
so talk to me about your Mavericks.
Well, right now they're kind of doing more of the same of what they did prior to the good.
Your sound is cutting out a little bit. Oh no. Well, I know. Oh no. I know Porzingis had 12 points. I'm a little disappointed in that. I want to see him do a little bit more. Luka had 37 points in this game against Portland. This was Sunday. And let's see. Richardson also had 21 points. So y'all have the Timberwolves on Wednesday and the Pacers on Friday and then the Pelicans on Saturday. And then the trade deadline is on Thursday. So I'm interested in seeing if Porzingis is still going to be on the trade block come Thursday. Do you think he'll still be with you guys, or do you think you'll get rid of him?
It's really hard to say. I've been reading a lot that Maxi Kleber, of all Mavericks that have been involved in trade talks lately, it's been Maxi Kleber. And they're talking about sending him to Atlanta for a John Collins deal, which I think would be good. John Collins is a good rim runner. He can stretch the floor a little bit too. He's not a great defender, which, I mean, the Dallas Mavericks aren't a great defensive team. So be giving us a little bit more redundancy in offense, right? But he's a little bit more athletic in the post, something that we don't have. I like Cleveland.
Oh no. I know that you guys are sitting in 8th right now. Your sound is still kind of cutting out. We're sitting at 7th. Y'all are at 8th. And then the Warriors are in 9th. And so are you concerned about this LeBron injury? Because it's looking like the Lakers are going to fall in the standings. And so, if they fall to the number 8 seed, that means one of our teams isn't getting in. And then also, that means that they're going to be playing either the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed. And LeBron is a different beast come playoffs. So do you think this is gonna affect us, you, my team, Warriors?
I mean, if anything, if they fall, I don't anticipate them falling all the way down to a 7th, 8th seed, but hypothetically speaking, say they do. I think that our teams move up rather than come down. It's not like they would be forcing us out. If they're falling, that means everyone else is coming up, in my opinion, right? So, the Spurs, depending on what moves y'all make at the deadline, you guys may be offloading people a little bit more quickly than the Mavericks, right? But like if y'all stand pat and we do too, and the Warriors, I anticipate those teams coming up, because if the Lakers are coming down, that means other teams are rising. And I think that, we would stand to benefit from that. Both of our teams would.
So do you see anybody else as far as the trade deadline that you've heard any talks about other than Collins?
Collins is really it. I've also kind of heard season with a Kelly Oubre Jr. From the Warriors, but that was a few weeks back. I mean, the Mavericks. Listen, Mark Cuban is a very aggressive owner. He wants to compete no matter how good or bad his team is. I don't imagine that they wouldn't do nothing. If it's not a John Collins move, maybe it's kind of along the margins of a Kelly Oubre Jr. type player. But it really comes down to who values the pieces that we have on our roster. Maxi Kleber could help a contending team or a team looking to get over the hump. As much as I would hate to see him moved, I could definitely see why other teams would be interested in him. Kristaps Porzingis is a guy who's been often injured, right when he's healthy and he's playing the way that he's capable of. He's one of the most unique players in the game and can help a team really, but his injuries have kind of, lowered whatever value that we can get from him, and his salary doesn't help. So we would basically have to, in my opinion, we would have to like couple some picks with him in order to move him off to get a better player, which I don't think that we can do that with the moves that or the picks that we sent off to bring him in the first place.
And I don't think he's at 100%. I haven't seen the unicorn that I've seen in former seasons, in previous seasons. He doesn't seem like he's back up to 100%. 12 points is important, 5 boards is important, or 8 boards he had, and 4 assists. But I think he could do more points wise. Like I would.
We're not paying him for those numbers. No,
not for the amount of money you're paying him. Definitely not.
Correct.
So your game on Wednesday, you have the Timberwolves, and that should probably be a pretty easy game. But Friday, the Pacers, and then the Pelicans on Saturday. Pelicans are a tough team. You never know exactly who you're going to get. They have a ton of talent. Not great coaching is what it seems like. But they have a ton of talent, and they've kind of gotten into a groove. So that would be my concern. I would be concerned about the game on Saturday. And Pacers are decent too. So, good luck on your games this week. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, your own show that you have. And we'll see you back whenever you're available.
Well, and thank you, Megan, and shout out to Jake and JB for everything that you guys do for us. And you guys have done a great job setting up the NBA Carousel, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of it. But awesome. You can follow me on Twitter at StephenBTG. That BTG stands for Breaking the Game, NBA podcast that I host. You can look up Breaking the Game anywhere podcasts are available. You can follow me on Instagram at Stephen W. Gillespie. You can follow the show itself at BTG NBA Pod on both platforms. And I would contribute to Off the Ball Network. You can go to offtheballnetwork.com. And then I'm also on Dash Radio twice a week. So if you download the Dash Radio app, look up the Nothing But Net channel. Fridays and Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'm on there with Austin. So,
well, thank you so much, Stephen. We'll see you back.
All right, thank you, Megan. Have a blessed day.
You're welcome. We're going to go ahead and move over to a team in the East. We have Jennifer Matthews-Lewis, who is covering the Boston Celtics.
Hey, Miss Megan, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jen. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And I go by any name as long as it's nice.
Okay. Okay, so do you have a team that's in the tournament? Have you been watching the tournament at all, the March Madness?
My team sadly got out. Stupid Wisconsin. So, but I don't have a dog in this fight, but go Ducks, just, for fun.
Right. So. I'm also watching. I'm extremely, I'm a little emotional about the exit that Texas took in the first round against Abilene Christian, who is actually one of our Houston rep. That's where he goes to school. So good for them. I know they haven't done anything in the tournament much before. I'm really disappointed in my team though. Okay, well, let's talk about the Celtics. you guys played yesterday. You played the Orlando Magic. You won 112-96. Jaylen Brown had an outstanding performance. Normal numbers for him. 34 points, 3 assists, 4 boards. Jason Tatum had 23 points, 4 assists, and 4 boards also. And then I saw you guys had Thies at center, so I didn't see any of Tristan Thompson on the list up there, right? So is he injured at this point or no?
He's not injured, but I have been reading some interesting rumors. I mean, Celtics have a ton of rumors going around about him, but including a trade featuring Mr. Tristan Thompson. So there's a lot. I'm not sure why he wasn't playing yesterday, but that wasn't announced because I did look into that and I couldn't find a reason.
Do you think that, the trade deadline is on Thursday, and I really feel like Drummond is I feel like the Celtics is the best fit for him. Like, I feel like that's probably the best place that he could go that would make him a contender. I don't think the Nets are interested in getting him since they have Blake Griffin now. Are you interested in seeing Drummond on your team?
I mean, Drummond would be an asset. I think he'd be an asset to any team that's got a competitive spirit. And I do think the Celtics are getting their competitive spirit back. I know that they had a locker room talk after their loss on Friday night. And, they answered with a win. So I think Drummond would be a good benefit. I think he would need to come in and show some true positive and encouraging behavior on and off the court and just really take the leadership over in the locker room. Because I know Marcus Smart, there's a couple of rumors around about him even going to the Hawks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think that would be a big loss.
Right, yeah,
personally, absolutely. A big game for the Hawks, but, big loss for the Celtics, and I hope it's just a rumor.
Right, yeah. So, well, do you want LaMarcus Aldridge? You can have him free of charge.
You know what? I think I'm going to let you keep him. I know he's your favorite player.
Right, yeah. You guys play the Grizzlies.
I'm trying to get my locker room back to positivity. Thank you.
Right. You know what? It's not that I think LaMarcus isn't because he's a pretty positive person. He has a good personality. I think our system has outgrown his style of play. So it's not that I dislike him as a person. I just think that we've grown past that. So you guys play the Grizzlies tonight, and then you have the Bucks on Wednesday. Big game on Wednesday.
Big game, a win game. Both of these are must win, even though people are thinking we're going to lose to the Grizzlies. I'm hoping they have another locker room powwow before the game, even on the flight.
Then you have OKC on Saturday. I think I would be a little more concerned about OKC than Memphis, even though Memphis is good. They're known to get hot offensively if Ja Morant gets hot. But OKC has been playing well the last couple of weeks, and it seems like the funk that they would get into, like you wouldn't know exactly which OKC team was going to show up. It seems like SGA is playing really, really well. They won. I think they won a game most recently. Who did they play? And they won. So I would be a little more concerned about OKC. I think they kind of found their rhythm. And I don't see them making the playoffs, but I see them keeping people from making the playoffs.
I would agree with you on that. I think tonight is a must win because of the mental. They need the mental win more than anything else. Because the Celtics are still third in the Atlantic, seventh in Eastern Conference. So I mean, that's not bad. It could be better. Right. That's why I think we need this because we're right at 500.
Agreed. Y'all are at 21-21. And so anything at this over the next couple of weeks is must win. Bucks, we played them on Saturday and it looked like we played really well. they are looking like that team that we saw before the bubble last year. Like they're looking like they're gelling together really well, especially with Drew Holiday there. I think that makes a huge difference in their defense. So, I think you guys are going to have to find a way to push past Drew Holiday. You're not going to stop Giannis. You're not going to stop him.
No, it's not going to happen.
No, and it's looking like not many people are stopping Middleton either. But I think if you guys can stop Drew from making big defensive plays, then y'all could win.
So I have this theory, and I don't know how reasonable this theory is, but it kind of started with LeBron, but I'll share it with like the major players in the league too. If you let your LeBrons, your Giannis's, your Stephs do their stuff, not really worry about protecting them or protecting the ball from them, but guard the crap out of everybody else.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
Play serious defense. One man cannot win a basketball game.
Right. There's a few that can do it, but not when they're playing someone that is as good as you guys are, because you guys are offensively. Offensively, you guys are really great. You had 5 players in double digits in this game against Orlando. Mm-hmm. Tatum had 23, Brown had 34, and then you had Kemba who had 14. Thies had 13. He had a big game. He had 11 boards. Marcus had 11 points and 8 assists. I would like to see his points up there a little bit more, but the rest of the stat line, he has quite a bit going on there. I think I would really like to see y'all use y'all's rookie a little bit more.
Yes. I don't disagree. And
he needs a few more touches on the ball. He needs about 5 more minutes on the court. That's what I think.
No, I would agree with that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think we need to share the love a little bit more. I think we have our starters, but I think maybe we should rest some of our starters a little bit during the game and then put them back in during the key moments of the game.
I agree. I know it's hard because when you're at, like you were saying, when you're at 500, every game is a must win at this point. So you don't want to take your starters out, but I definitely think that you got to rest them and help prevent injury. At this portion in the season, you don't want any injury whatsoever. You look at a team like the Lakers, and they could possibly fall to an 8 seed because they have no stars right now.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But, I don't really like LeBron, so that'll make me happy.
I'm not, he's always the competition, so I'm not a fan, but I do appreciate the greatness. So why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we'll see you back next week, Jen.
Sure. You can find me on Facebook with Unlimited Sports. If you're a Panthers fan, you can find me at #KeepHoundingNation, 2 states, 1 team. You can also hit me up on Twitter, Jenna Cheryl, or on Reddit at Jenna Cheryl. And hopefully podcasts soon to come.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. We'll see you next week.
Thanks. Have a great night, Megan.
You too. All right, guys, we're going to keep it in the East. We're going to go ahead and talk about the Charlotte Hornets. We have Will Vogel covering them. Hi, Will.
Hey, Megan.
How are you?
Could be better, but...
I know. Okay, so rough news for the Charlotte Hornets. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know what happened?
Well, everyone should know.
Right.
LaMelo broke his wrist, and he's out for the year.
Right. Awful. Just well wishes and hope that he recovers. He's definitely still Rookie of the Year in my book. I know that there are some other players that are close behind, but, I hope that he still wins Rookie of the Year.
I agree.
So your team is playing my team tonight. Here in about 10 minutes is the start of the game.
Yep.
What do you expect out of that game?
I think it'll be a great game. I think it'll be a close game. You got Rudy Gay, you got DeMar DeRozan, you got DeJounte Murray, you got Miles Bridges, you got Devontae Graham, you got Terry Rozier. I think it'll be an even matchup.
with LaMelo being out, it's not a lucky thing, but at least you have Rozier. Rozier's a great guard, and he's been playing well in Charlotte. He had a slow game against the Clippers. You guys played on Saturday. Y'all lost 125-98. Not exactly surprising with that game because the Clippers are that good. Kawhi, Paul George, they're that good.
Yes, the rest of the team did good, though, in my opinion. Like, we lost by 27, but still, Hayward had 17, Ball had 13 before he got injured. Right. Bridges had 21 off the bench, and Devontae Graham had 11 points off the bench. So I was expecting us to lose, but I'm still happy that Hayward and Bridges showed out.
I think in order for you guys to maintain the 8 seed right now, because you're right under 500, you're 20-21. I think for you guys to maintain that, being able to go to the playoffs, I want to see more out of Gordon Hayward. He is playing. He's playing well, but the amount of really great games that he's had this season, and we'll exclude the time that he was injured. I think that it's probably about half and half. Half the time he has really standout performances, and the other half are kind of lackluster. 17 points is important, but I want to see him at about 24, 25, especially for the amount of money that you guys paid him.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Right. On Wednesday, you guys play the Rockets. I see that probably being an easy win for you guys.
Yeah, I'm expecting the Rockets to be on that terrible losing streak still. I think they're at like 20 or 21 straight losses. Yeah. Which
21, or no, I think it's 20 for sure. And then you have Miami on Friday.
That's a good game. That's a tough game, but it's an interesting game.
The Heat is in number 5 right now. So, they had a rough start of the season, but over the last 3 weeks, especially since the All-Star break and probably the week before the All-Star break, they have been playing just on a major tear. Like Jimmy Buckets is playing really well. You have Harrow has been playing really well too. So, I think that's going to be the game that I think that y'all probably don't win.
And then we played the Suns on Sunday. So I'm expecting 2 or 3 wins. Like Spurs will be a toss-up. Rockets, I think, will win. Heat is probably a loss. Suns is probably a loss. So maybe against the Spurs and Rockets we can get wins.
Right. Well, good luck on those games this week. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on about your team?
What do you think? I still got I can talk as long as you want.
Awesome. I'm looking at these stats from the game on Saturday, and Bitabayo, what has been going on with him this season?
Biyombo, he's just not as good. He's just not good. He's a backup center, but he's not really that good. He's more of a defensive player than an offensive player. It stinks. He was with us, and then he left, and he had an amazing playoff performance with the Raptors, and I kind of wish we got that Biyombo that was with the Raptors, but he's just not a good – our center position is probably the weakest position on the team by far.
And so Zeller wasn't in the game. Is he injured? Or was he on rest?
I wouldn't know, but Zeller's been iffy this year. I just don't think he's the long-term solution as a center.
Agreed. All right, well, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and then we'll see you back next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, Megan. You guys can find me on Instagram at WVogs, like my name says, Will, and in parentheses at WVogs on Instagram. Find me here on Monday nights. I'll either be covering the Charlotte Hornets or the Utah Jazz. It just depends. And also find me on the Sip Off on Saturday nights.
At 8 Eastern.
Yes.
All right, well, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move over to the West. We're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns. Jordan Long.
Hey, Megan.
Hey, Jordan, how are you?
I'm good.
Have you been enjoying the March Madness?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have a team in it with the Buffs. Right now, I think we're down by 4 from Florida State. But, the thing is for the Buffs, we didn't expect to be here, at least even win a round. So even if we lose tonight, it's been a great season with Tad Boyle and company.
Who did y'all play in the first round? I think I watched part of that game.
So it was the 12th seed Georgetown. A lot of people had us losing that, but we came out firing from 3, and I think we won by about 20 points.
Right, and that's why I said I didn't watch the entirety of the game, but when I looked at it, I was like, oh, Colorado has this in the back. But congratulations on being in the postseason. I know that's always, something fun. I'm disappointed in my team, so I'm going to continue to watch. I've been enjoying the women's tournament quite a bit. Have you watched any of that?
I've been following it on the ESPN app. Unfortunately, I mean, my focus is more on the men, and it's not to take away from the women's game. It's just that's the one that is on every station. And unfortunately, I don't know why the women's game is only on ESPN and those stations. It'd be nice to have more coverage of the women's game. Make it equal.
Right. I know the first round, which was yesterday, the first round, every game was actually televised between ESPN, ABC, and CBS. So, it's a start, and hopefully that they're able to get more coverage maybe next tournament. We're just glad to have a tournament this year in general. So let's talk about the Phoenix Suns, though. You guys are in second. You're at 28-13. And I think the big question up in the air right now is, how is the LeBron injury going to affect the Suns?
I think with LeBron out, we saw it yesterday. We played them and won 111-94, and we beat them twice without their 2 best players. And I think if we continue to do that, I don't know how long Anthony Davis is going to be out. And LeBron is out indefinitely. That's really going to hurt them slide down. That we have a chance to be actually the first place team. I don't think we'll catch the Utah Jazz. They're 2.5 games ahead of us. But the fact of the matter is, if we can stay in second, then we have a matchup with potentially the Utah Jazz if we end up going to the Western Conference Finals.
Right. Okay. So what happens if the Lakers fall to 7 or 8, and you get them in the first round?
Well, it depends on if Anthony Davis and LeBron James are healthy. If both of them are healthy, our matchups are totally different. But if it was like it was last night, we'll sweep. Well, I wouldn't say we'll sweep them, but we'll win them. We'll beat them in 4 or 5 or 6 games. But if LeBron James, But if LeBron James and Anthony Davis, come back and Anthony Davis down low with LeBron James shooting from outside, that changes the whole dynamic. That could be a 6-game for the Lakers or a potentially 7-game for the Lakers. I just think the Lakers are much better, but if they don't have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, that's going to hurt them.
I'm looking at their stats from y'all's game yesterday, and their top scorers were Schroeder and Harrell. Schroeder had 22 points. Harrell had 23 points. Kyle Kuzma had 13 points. Horton Tucker had 17 points. So obviously that's not going to get it done in the West if they continue. Now, I saw a report saying that LeBron and AD are expected back in about a month. LeBron, I think, is going to be okay. We're going to see him come playoffs. He's going to enjoy that rest, that time off. We all know that he does something different come playoff time. I'm more concerned about AD's timeline. He's been out for a while already. I know they were scared. They thought it was an Achilles tear. Maybe it was worse than what they let everybody know or led on, because he's been out for a while and they're still saying another month.
Well, that's the thing is with these injuries, especially with the knee, you don't know how someone's going to come back. With high ankle sprains, they're easier to come back from than a knee, because a knee, even if you have a slight discomfort, you don't know if that's an ACL, and you don't want to actually make it worse.
Right. You guys play the Heat tomorrow, then the Magic on Wednesday, Raptors on Friday, Hornets on Sunday. So you have 4 games this week, but I think the Heat's going to be kind of tough. Magic, Raptors, I think y'all got that in the bag. Hornets, especially with LaMelo being injured, I would say that probably the toughest game on y'all's schedule is tomorrow, Miami.
I completely agree. They have some great players on that team, including Jimmy Butler, Gordon Dragic. I mean, you have to cover those guys. And as for us, we just have to play the game we've been playing. If we continue to do that, we'll be fine. Get Chris Paul to do what he's been doing. We don't need a lot of points from him. I think yesterday he had 11 points, but he had 13 assists. That's all we need from him. As
and
for he's not known for a rebound, and that actually surprised me. And the one thing that I am concerned about with the Suns is who's going to play power forward. Right now, it's Jay Crowder. They have started Frank Kaminsky, but Kaminsky didn't even play yesterday. So I think the fact that Jay Crowder was in the game, he gives the Suns a different attitude, a different feel coming into the starting lineup than Kaminsky, because he's a better 3-point shooter.
I agree. Why do you think Kaminsky didn't play?
Coach's decision. I think he needs rest. He hasn't played well all season. It was just time for him to actually get a rest.
I agree. I've seen as I've been interviewing you and been looking at y'all's stats, I see him there constantly, and he has some good games, but the last couple of weeks, it seems like he's had a couple of lackluster performances.
He really has, and it was just time for him to get a rest. I mean, coming down the stretch, especially in the second half, we need our best players. And Kaminsky can be a good player. He definitely just needed the rest there, and hopefully that will re-energize him for this 4-game road trip that we were discussing.
Right. And I like Crowder. Who did he used to play for? Wasn't he on Cleveland when they won?
I believe so.
I think so. I've enjoyed watching him play for a while. I'm not sure how long he's been in the league, but he's a veteran. He's probably on his way out. So that brings something, like you said, as far as, ball management on the court. Like he knows what to do with the ball. He's been there before. He's been on a championship team before. Good luck on y'all's games this week. And why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you?
Thanks, Megan. You can find me at @SportsScoop1 on Twitter, and I have a blog that I write Monday through Friday, and that's sports-scoop.com.
Thanks, Jordan. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move back to the East. We have Cool McCain covering the Milwaukee Bucks. Hey, Cool.
Hello, Megan. How are we doing today?
Doing really well. We had a great game Saturday.
We did. I told you I was worried about you guys. You proved me right.
Yeah. We ended up playing pretty decent. What I'm looking at here, though, we had 33 points in the first, and this is where we fell off. We had 17 points in the second quarter. The rest, let's see, the third we had 34 points. The fourth we had 29 points. And you guys kept it at almost 30 points each quarter. So when we fell off in that second quarter, that's where we lost the game.
Consistency is a must.
Absolutely. Steven was talking about we didn't put the ball in Lonnie's hands in time. He had 31 points against you guys. Obviously, he got hot. But Drew also had a really good game. He had 21 points, 3 assists, 5 boards. Giannis had 26 points. And then you had Chris Middleton, who all season long has been right there, right under Giannis as far as points. Great chemistry between the two of them. Really, the three of them. I really like Drew on y'all's team a lot.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. But we have to talk about the major move that we made this week. We have to talk about that.
Let us know.
So we acquired PJ Tucker.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes. And the pieces that ended up being shipped out in 2 separate trades. Houston got DJ Augustine and DJ Wilson. Then we traded in a separate trade Torrey Craig to Phoenix for cash considerations. So now we're actually $3.5 million below the hard cap and $1.2 million below the luxury tax. So that's big. Being able to bring in a piece like PJ Tucker and he gets you under, the luxury tax. That was, major for the organization. So kudos to them for that. And also we got a trade exception of $4.8 million. So if we engage in another trade, we can absorb $4.8 million plus the 1.2 to bring in someone else to fill one or both of the empty roster spots that we now have. And let's not think about, there'll be some people out there after the trade deadline when they don't get traded, that'll be bought out and they'll want to come to a contender, and we have openings.
Y'all are in third right now. You have almost the exact same record as the Suns. You're 27-14. Really looking like that team that we saw before the bubble. Really, the chemistry that you guys have, it kind of gelled back together. I was concerned. I didn't know if you guys were going to make a deep playoff run there for a few weeks before the All-Star game. Y'all were kind of out of sync, but that's in the past. You guys are playing much, much better.
Well, Megan, I told you we didn't have Drew Holiday, and that made a big difference for us.
Very true.
He's back, right? So we're pretty good to go. I mean, we still have a little bit of work to do. We still have to try to get past the Nuggets and the Sixers. I mean, obviously, you want to have the home court. A lot of people say, "Oh, it doesn't matter this year because you don't have as many fans." But if we're paying attention to the world, people are getting vaccinated. We're starting to see fans back in stadiums. By the time we get to the playoffs, we could be at least 50% capacity. It makes a big difference. So you want to try to get home court if you can. I mean, hey, we need to outpace the Sixers and the Nets. Right now, I think we're a game behind the Nets, and I think we're like 2 games behind the Sixers. So we're right there in that 3, like 1, 2, 3 spots. And then after us, everything drops off with the Hawks on down. So I think, it's just a matter of making the right moves, playing hard, and being able to add PJ Tucker into what we already have going. We have a lot of guys we talked about multiple weeks that can step up and have good games, like Bobby Portis, the guys you mentioned, Pat Connaughton, different guys. So when you add another defensive weapon who's also a 3-point shooter, and PJ Tucker, a very physical player, a guy that I think will bring some of that out of Giannis more, which I love to see. I think it was definitely a great pickup for us. And we also got some other bonuses out of the deal. So, hey, I mean, it's a win-win situation.
I completely forgot about that because I was thinking about LaMelo all day. Those are the headlines I was reading. So you guys played the Pacers today, the Celtics on Wednesday, and then the Knicks on Saturday. Now, the Knicks they went into overtime last night against the Sixers. So, I want to say that I think the Knicks are a better team than a lot of people give them credit for, but the Sixers don't have Embiid right now. Simmons didn't play, but I just want to say that, the Knicks might be one of those dark horse teams, like you were saying about San Antonio, that they have that ability to give you a loss that you weren't expecting.
Oh, yeah. You have to be ready for the Knicks. And we actually play, you may have overlooked it because it's back-to-back, but we play Boston on Friday as well. So we play on Wednesday and Friday. Yeah, so we got a double header against Boston. Yeah, I think we should be able to win 3 of these 4 games. I think either one of the games against Boston or the game against the Knicks would be a concern of mine. It's hard to go 4-0 in the NBA every week, any week, let's be honest. Like I said, you guys almost took us out. So I think it'll be some good games. Looking forward to the next game after that. We have the Clippers as well. Which could be a big game for us, just, as far as seeing where we stack up against those teams in the West. Obviously, the West is going to look a little different because the Lakers are going to fall some. But, those things happen. It sucks that Davis and LeBron both got hurt, but those things happen.
It does. And, this season and even the football season that we've watched since COVID has happened, it just seems like there's a ton more injuries. And I don't know if it has something to do with just how many more games, as far as NBA, how many more games they're playing in a schedule or lack of training time. So you said you guys play the Clippers. What day do y'all play them? We have a back-to-back with the Clippers next Monday. Okay.
We are next Monday.
I think we probably lose both games to the Clippers. I think that we might take one. So I don't know what their energy is going to be like when y'all get to them on Monday, but probably a much better matchup than the Spurs against the Clippers. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we'll see you back next week.
Sure. So as always, at Cool McCain on Instagram or on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook, Cool McCain, same. I do my show, the Play Callers Sports Talk Show, playcallersportstalk.com, every Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're pretty interactive. If you get a chance, jump on to see us. If you can't jump on live, you can still jump on and watch the show. I think you'll enjoy it.
Thank you, Cole. We'll see you back next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and keep it in the East. Next, we have Chris Dinkins with the New York Knicks. If he's not available, then we'll go ahead and move on to Cleveland. And we have Kevin, who's representing Cleveland.
Hi, Megan.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm fine.
Awesome. Have you been able to watch any of the March Madness tournament?
Not much, but I've been hearing a lot of rumble about Oral Roberts.
Right.
The win yesterday against Florida, I was like, okay, fine. This is going to be a big thing now. So I'm now quite looking forward to March Madness now.
Okay. Well, you guys have moved up into the standings to 12th. You're 16 and 26 right now. I know we saw Kevin Love last week for a few minutes, and we haven't seen him since then. Is he still good? Is he going to be on y'all's roster pretty soon, or in the lineup pretty soon?
Yeah, he's going to be. He's out right now with calf soreness. So, still that calf is recovering, and slowly, one game at a time, as I always say. So, some restricted minutes, and then slowly he'll come. So, it's good they did not have him start at the full pace. So, it's fine.
You guys played the Raptors yesterday, and you won 116 to 105. Congratulations. I know the Raptors are a pretty decent team. They're not the team that went and won the championship 2 years ago, but they're still a pretty good team. Jared Allen had 17 points. Colin Sexton had an outstanding performance with 36 points. Garland had 15, and Wade had 16. So it seems like some of the pieces are coming together on y'all's offense.
Yeah, of course. Colin Sexton is like taking the whole team on his back and performing each and every game. That's the only piece who is alive right now from the sixth land. Hasn't taken that form yet, but other than that, a good performance by Dean Wade. I expect a lot of things, a lot of performance from him. What quite concerning is KD Osman. His shooting has been really off from 3-point range. So I'm really looking forward at how KD Osman brings his form back, because he has started some games, and I really want to see him how he performs, because I really feel he has that potential to have a really good breakout season.
Do you see y'all moving Drummond before the trade deadline, which is on Thursday?
Yes. I read something about Andre Drummond going to Dallas Mavericks. Something trade exceptions or something. I really don't know what assets can be done. But yes, if that doesn't happen, then we can have a buyout following the trend, and then Drummond can go to Nets or the Lakers. Both of those teams are on the list. We did ask him to come off the bench for a bit, but he was still quite tough not to coming out. Other than that, JaVale McGee is another center which we might lose in a buyout again. So that big lineup which we had before, it's like slowly coming off right now.
Right. Okay, so you guys are playing the Kings right now, and then you play the Bulls on Wednesday, Lakers on Friday, and then you turn around and play the Kings again on Saturday. And then Monday you have the Jazz. So, I think the Kings, y'all will probably split that series. They're somewhat decent. They have their moments. They have a good rookie. Buddy Hield is pretty good. They have a Bagley. They have a few good players that I really like a lot. So I think y'all could probably catch one of those games, possibly tonight's game. The Bulls, y'all might be able to beat the Bulls. The Lakers are injured. So, your schedule looks pretty winnable, except for the game on Monday.
Yeah, of course. Right now, Cleveland and Sacramento is in halftime, and it's 59-63 right now. De'Aaron Fox with 14 points. Tyrese Haliburton also with 14 points. But when it comes to Cleveland, a very good distribution among points. Colin Sexton with 10. JaVale McGee with 10. So, good distribution of points. So it's a pretty close game. It hasn't been very up and down. It's still on the the neutral side. So we can expect a pretty close game there. Other than that, when the next match comes up with Chicago, yes, Zach Levine, I fear him. I fear him a lot. Laurie Markkinen.
Right.
Sometimes he break up, sometimes he doesn't. But it's
Right.
still you never expect, because Bulls have been a surprise this year. So an easy win, but not so easy win for us. Lakers, LeBron out, start for him. Davis still out. So major two chunks of offense out. So it really depends how Larry Nance operates in the offense and how he calls out the teams to have their defense set up. So yes, that can be a winnable game, but Lakers still have players who can shoot the ball into the ring, and we
Right.
see that.
Agreed. Well, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you? I know you have your own podcast. Let them know, and we'll see you back next week.
Yeah, you can find me on the Kev Pod. You can find me on Twitter as Kevin Somani11. You can find me on Instagram as well. You can find my podcast on Instagram as well. I'm always everywhere. And also you can find me here on the NBA Carousel. And I'm just waiting for Cleveland to do something really great again. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move back to the West, a team that is struggling right now, but their best player has come back. We have Jay Nelson covering the Rockets.
Yo, what's going on?
I know y'all are struggling, but we saw the return of Christian Wood. How did that feel?
It feels good to have him back. I think that already he has returned to form. He's been sitting on the sidelines hungry. He had already been wanting to come back early. Of course, the coach was doing his job and protecting him. I thought that was a good move. I mean, no matter how many losses that we've taken, I pretty much just said that for the rest of the season, it's just scouting what we got for next year. So
Right.
I'm already excited about next year. But no, he definitely came back to form, even with restricted minutes and whatnot. This last game versus OKC, and we only lost by 2, and even I consider that a win.
Right.
But Wood had 27, 8, and 2. Wall did his thing. He had 24, 7, and 2. Oladipo had 23, 6, and 5. We had our big three, I guess. They all were in double figures. Even between both teams, Houston and OKC. I mean, they matched up. Like Houston was 14 of 38 from 3. OKC was 13 of 39. So almost, it almost kind of mirrored. We just got to learn how to close games. If we take anything from this, is we got to learn how to close games. But I thought it was a great effort by Houston.
Absolutely. I know that loss hurt. Those ones that are close like that hurt. OKC, they beat us when we first came back after our stint with COVID, and they beat us just like that, 2 points, and it hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
I see SGA didn't play. That's interesting. I wonder why he didn't play.
SGA, no, he didn't. He was nursing an injury, but coach didn't think it was that big a deal and whatnot. We had the big three back, and hopefully we can pull out a win tonight. We got the Raptors tonight. Maybe we'll look out.
Well, and then, you have the Hornets on Wednesday who are injured right now. And then you have the Timberwolves. You have a back-to-back with them Friday and Saturday. Timberwolves and Hornets, all completely winnable games. Tonight's probably the toughest game of y'all's schedule this week. Like we were saying, if you start focusing on next year, because when you're 11 and 30, that's kind of just what you have to start thinking about. Do you think you guys are going to move Oladipo before the trade deadline?
I'm 50-50 on that. News officially came in that Aaron Gordon from the Magic requested a trade. And it actually had been kind of like discussed or rumored, what if we sent Oladipo over there for Aaron Gordon? I wouldn't. I love Oladipo, but I wouldn't have a problem with it. I would like Aaron Gordon over here. We got DJ Augustine, who's another former Magic. And everything. We just need to get young. And I mean, if it means to sacrificing this year and just having them get that experience, those reps in, I think, by next year we have the team like centered around Christian Wood, and we could be back in the playoffs.
Agreed. Do you think Oladipo didn't take the contract extension with you guys? Do you think he didn't take that because of the amount of time or the amount of money, or do you think he just wanted out of Houston?
I think the amount of time. It's not like he requested a trade. We had plenty of moves to make before the trade deadline. Ironically, if we still had Daryl Morey probably would have moved him by now.
True.
He probably would have moved him by now. I think Silas is still hanging on to him to kind of see what he can get. Oladipo, he wants that long contract. He's coming off of a serious injury. I don't blame the front office for saying, like, hey, let's get a little bit of time and see what we got. But Oladipo, he wants and now that's good. He likes Houston. He wants to stay in Houston, you know. So he's like, no, I want a long-term deal, you know, which is great. You know, he wants to stay in Houston. He wants to stay and grow the team. I'm good with that.
Well, and that's positive. Hopefully you guys can work something out to where you don't actually have to get rid of him. I like Oladipo a lot. And I like y'all's big three that you have. John Wall's playing really well. Him, Oladipo, and Wood, as long as Wood is healthy. But my main concern with Wood is who's his backup now?
Oh. There hasn't been much. We just like, where's Wood, you know?
Right.
Because literally when he went out, the bottom just fell out, you know?
Right.
With that said, I would say, I think that we need to get into the draft and get another big man.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And get another one. I mean, I'm fine with an all-young team and then have Wall being the veteran, you know?
Right.
But I'm fine with that. And I mean, Wall's in his prime. So
he absolutely is. I see a lot of promise with House and Jayshawn Tate as well. Kenyon Martin Jr. He went scoreless in this game, whereas a couple of games ago he had a pretty standout game. Absolutely, what y'all are missing is that backup center because Wood is going to have some rest. I know that he's looks great and he seems like he's coming back to form, and it's his team pretty much, that's basically they're building the team around him, but he's going to have some games where he rests, especially when y'all have 4 games in 1 week like you do this week.
Exactly. And we have to stay big as far as the 4 and the 5s. We can't go back to small ball when PJ Tucker was the tallest dude on the team and he's 6'7". You know what I mean? And then you run right into a team much bigger than you and get steamrolled. We can't do that, you know. We gotta go back to how we were pre-D'Antoni or pre-small ball era, you know.
What did you think about my comparison of Shaka Smart's the D'Antoni of the NBA of the NCAA?
I saw those kind of comparisons, and I'm like, y'all. I mean, with Shaka Smart just gave them their first Big 12 title. Let's put the knives down, okay? Okay,
you're right. He did. I will say, though, that this team that he has, it may had, because we don't know if he's going to keep his job, it's the most talent I've seen at Texas. It's probably since Kevin Durant. This is the best I've seen them in a very long time. Now, I didn't expect them to go in and win the tournament. I don't think anybody's beaten Baylor or Gonzaga. But the only team that I thought that could beat Gonzaga was Michigan before dude broke his foot. So now I think it's all Gonzaga's tournament. But congratulations on the Big 12 championship. That is a big deal. But even, we went probably 12, 13 games before we lost a game. I was real excited about the team, right? And then we hit a slump where we lost to OU, we lost to Tech, we lost to several teams that we probably should have won. And that's when I started to wonder. I was like, is this team what are they going to do in the tournament? Well, come to find out, they play the school that you go to in the first round, and you guys won.
Yeah.
Who did they play next?
They did drop games to OU and Tech, but then look at the get back. They beat OU. They swept Kansas. They knocked Tech out of the tournament.
True.
I put it to you like this. It could be less on what Shaka was doing and more that ACU came to play.
Maybe so.
The fact that Texas committed 21 turnovers was no surprise to me. ACU boasts the #1 defense in Division I.
I didn't know that.
The number 1 defense in the nation, Abilene Christian. Yes. So
that's wild. That's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was no shot. Oh, and get this, ACU had no blocks all game. They were all steals.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, that was a clutch shot by Andrew Jones.
It was. Who do they play next in the next round?
Oh, ACU already lost. It was to UCLA.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Was that their first tournament win?
Yes, it was.
Or tournament game win? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. You know, and but next year for the Longhorns, I expect the same, and then to actually get past the first round.
You think Shaka keeps his job?
Yes, you can't fire him after he just got you your first Big 12 victory.
You're right. Maybe I was
not after the first big. If they didn't win the conference, he's probably on the hot seat. But he won the conference and he swept Kansas. They've been winning the Big 12 for the last 58 years.
True, very true. Yeah, and we beat that first game. We beat them by like 22 points too. So, I just hope to see Texas do better than this. I thought we had a ton of talent, and I think we see our center go into the league probably.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, there'll be better days. Of course, Texas will be back. I'm wearing my Longhorn sweats as it is, along with my ECU hat. So that was a hard
maybe the center from Texas is who the Rockets need to go after in the draft.
Probably so. Shoot, either him or the center at ACU, Cole, 7'2".
Oh, right.
Yeah, 7'2". He can move a little bit too. So like ACU's got some size on him. If they decide to go to the draft, I think Houston needs to look at them. I think Houston needs to take a look at them. I think Houston needs to take a look at Andrew Jones. Any of those shooters on the Longhorns, like we need them.
Right. Well, good luck on your games this week. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and we'll see you back next week.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at NellyNell13. That's NELLINEL13. I'm also on the Sip Off, hosted by Megan Price, on Saturdays and occasionally Fridays. I'm also on the Aspiring Screenwriter. I work with Viz Productions on Roku, averaging 1.5 million views per month. Started last September, or right on my birthday, September 11th, and have been going strong ever since. Shout out Marshall Hill, shout out Craig Davis, my Unconventional Kings fam. Y'all be good.
Thanks, Jay. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week. Enjoy your March Madness tournament. And also, if you don't have a team that you watch in the women's tournament, just pick one and watch the women's tournament too. Get their views up. Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.